I am going to set up a couple things here, and because, as you know, I have to try and find the so I can watch the comments, hopefully. So it takes me just a minute. I know I've been doing this for a while, but sometimes I'm still, figuring all this stuff out. And one day, maybe, I will get it figured out. Come on. Let's see. Why won't you let me open this? It's not letting me open this. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know why they make this so hard. So anyway, I will get on with it, and then if I get an opportunity, I will be able to figure this part out. Because usually I can get it to pop up so I can see if somebody actually pops in. And this is just me. Go. Okay. So I don't want to move this to phone. Back. Okay. Oh, there we go. Morning, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us. Morning, June. Jan! Yay! Thank you very much. Hi, Michelle. I hope you're doing well this morning. It's good to see y'all. I don't have a ton of time because I've got an appointment this afternoon, but I've been trying to get on, and it was like a few days ago the iPad was dead. So I want to start with a little unboxing. My friend Joe over at Vintage Style by Joe, you need to go over and check her out. I mean, if you want things to do with your scrappy stuff and project ideas, she's just the bomb. She has some critters. She has a channel with some of her critters. Anyway, she did a little bit of an auction a couple weeks ago, maybe 3, for rescue animals. Hold on a minute. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well, Michelle. I hope Wallen's doing well. So this story starts a little over a year ago. I won Henry on one of her lives. At the end, she gave away some things. The interesting thing is my dad's middle name was Henry. Well, I've been teasing her for a little over a year that Henry is lonely and needs a girlfriend. And I hadn't yet had a chance to make beautiful little Henry a partner. But then when she had the auction, she had, let me see here. So I just wanted to wait to make sure I opened it up here. Hi Joyce, how are you doing this morning? How's everybody doing this morning? It's been a little bit of a crazy morning. Yeah, Vintage Style by Joe. Look, she wrapped them up all real nice. Now, Henry was a leftover. She made Henry for like a craft show. And she usually sold them by pairs. And but it was for a good cause. And once I get this beautiful, and This is Henrietta. See, Henrietta went with Henry, and they've been separated for over a year. So now Henry isn't aren't they beautiful? She just does an amazing job. So Henry is so excited because he's been waiting for his Henrietta. And put you guys over here. Just adorable. I mean, look at how she did these braids. They're just amazing. But Henry's so excited because he has his Henrietta back home again. And yes, I could have made one and we had that discussion, but I was just I didn't realize that there was actually a pair and she had the other one. And then she had this pin cushion, and I forget what they were teasing her to name, but I call him Bubba. So I got Bubba and Henrietta. So now maybe Bubba's gonna have to get a friend. He's got little pins in his hat. Oops. So this was my little auction for, and she took, she did. She took all the little money and she went and bought, you know, pet um pet pads and food and things to take to the shelter, which is very, very special. And it looks like she threw in a couple extras here. Hi, Donnell. How you doing, little sis? Michelle says, did you see him, Donnell? I wish I could have, I hadn't opened this one up. And I'm still having some problems getting pictures to upload to put up when I do my lives. So I have to pick from one that actually works. And little Bubba's cute, and you're supposed to use his hat. His hat's set up for a pin cushion. I'm not sure I'm gonna stick him with pins. He's so cute. And in Joe's little style, she threw in some little extras here as a blessing. A couple of these nice yo-yos that she makes, and some seed beads, which will go in my bead collection. That just came this morning. I bet you are, Donnell, and I saw that disappear. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, I think I said hello to Cheryl. Sometimes I'm behind. I'm going to get up for a minute because I really got to show Donnell something. Just because she's on for a minute, and I'm sure she's working. And then I've got a few other little things over here to show you. We can catch up on some things. I kind of stacked everything up. It's been quite a month since I've been on, but and I don't got oh, I know where I got that. So I was kind of half thinking out loud to myself. But anyway, coming back now. But I have put up a picture. We have a little group called the Renegades, and if you get a chance, go over and check out Donnell's Stitchery. She has a fantastic channel. Good peep. Some of you have already over there. In Quilt Feck is another really great group with a bunch of good peeps. Gonna do as many shout outs as I can. Oh, I lost my comment section here. You're welcome. Okay. So this was from a shop that was doing clearance on Etsy. And I just thought that it was just really beautiful fabric that could be used for pot holders or bowl koozies or jar grippers or those kind of things. And I know Donnell's really into bees, but it's a beautiful lavender. Well, the other day I popped into the Hobby Lobby, I call it the lob, to grab some white, and I found this beautiful mauve with bees. And the screen probably doesn't do it justice. Now, this is a brother-sister design, and the thing is brother-sister, my understanding, brother-sister is owned by the Lob. They created it out of Oklahoma, and they chose designers so that they could provide nice designs and nice fabric. Well, when I was in there the last time, I noticed that a lot of the fabric had AMDR and very little said brother sisters. Well, I did some research, and it seems as though something has happened. There's no details with their connection with their company brother and sister. And so any of the brother sister fabric that is out there is probably all that's going to be out there. So if there's a design you like or use frequently, like there is a fabric I use for my pocket prayer doodads, and it's brother and sister, so I went and I stocked up on it. That this is my understanding. So if there's something at the Lob that's brother and sister that you like, you better grab it. And I also found I had already gotten some of this. Yeah, I got about a yard or a yard and a half of this at Christmas last year. And I went back 2 days later and it was gone, gone, gone. And this was like late October. So their Christmas is already 50% off. So I made sure to get some more. Well, I found this yard in the remnant bin. Let's see what's going on here. Close your eyes. And probably. You're very welcome, Jan F. I thought brother sister fabric, it always had a good feel to it, a good weight to it. They had beautiful designs. I didn't get any information of what the rift is within their own created company, just the information that if there's a design that you like, you better get it. Now, I did notice when I was there that they've started adding more like Michael Miller in particular and some other fabrics in that line. And they had a bunch of this stuff that was AMDR, which when I looked it up, it didn't, the only thing it says was AMD is American Designs, American made designs. So, but this is, and I stocked up on it, but this is the one. I had things set out here and I'm scrolling. And so this is the one I went and stocked up on. Sorry that I'm not so organized this morning, but I was actually just hoping to get on and chat with you guys and give you. Oh, here's another one for Donnell. It just needs the top stitching. This is a jar gripper, a small one, and they work excellent. They don't take long to make. But look at the little gnomes and a squirrel. Close your eyes. Joyce, about 2 or 3 years ago when I noticed a lot of I was thinking maybe 80-90% of the Lob's fabric said brother sister on the salvage. I was like, well, who is this company? And I found out that they had created their own design company. And they had looked for top shelf designers because they wanted, but this is the one I stocked up on. And the reason why is because each of these I can cut out into about a 2.5-inch square and use on the back of what I call pocket prayer things. So basically you take a 4-patch or little hourglass 2.5-inch and you put something on the back and you slip a metal cross in it. So when you have it in your pocket or your purse, you can, it's a good reminder. And when I first started making them about 3.5 years ago, I remembered I had gotten a small piece of this fabric. So instead of using something plain, I could cut out these designs that were appropriate. And I thought, well, if this is disappearing, when I had gone in there to looking at their Christmas, and so I went back a couple days later. Besides that, I had to get some Grinch calendars. Here's another brother sister design, and it will be going away soon. It's a bit of a thinner fabric, but it's really pretty. I have a lot of ideas for it. Now this, see, this is a Michael Miller, and um, it's it's just the right size if you want to cut it up for a key fob and do a dinosaur key fob or do squares or things like that. But you can tell the color is very clear on it. I got another vegetable one by him that I really, really liked. Dinos. I didn't know you liked dinos. Yeah, I just thought this was really cool. And yes, it was on sale with the rest of them. Little more pricey than what they did for the brother sister. So this would be $7.99 regularly, and then with their percentage off, you get it down to I think 5 something. This one I think is 11, and you get it down, or if it's on special. I got one other piece when I was there before, and I can show you in a couple minutes if you want. And that would be interesting, Donnell. It's just, Michelle, it's just the colors. I love, and they're not really scary dinos, and they're not cartoonish. I just thought it would just that there I could use it for a lot of different things. This was a remnant piece. I got a larger chunk because I know if I find something useful, it might disappear. And so there's that. Now, somewhere around here, I do have my little baggie with um my little pocket prayer things, but right now I'm not sure where I set it. Why is that not surprising? Now, while we're on little things, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had a pop up from Keepsake Fabric. Dinos and Skunks. He loves watching. Oh, that's amazing. You know, Tula did some beautiful skunks for her line art. Line art was one of my favorites by her, but I'm getting sidetracked. Um, had a pop up from Keepsake, and they had panels on sale, and then they had a BOGO, buy one get one free. Well, my friend had been looking for a nativity for her granddaughter and wanted something that was childproof, so I had found this panel and this kind of expensive Riley Blake panel. It's felt and it has a book. So this part, when you sew it together, has the backdrop and all the little pieces. The pieces are bigger than I thought they would be. All these little pieces go in the book. And I found it on sale at Fat Quarter Shop for about $12 or $15 less than most people were selling it. It is a large panel, 36 by 69. Well, I noticed they had it. It's called Silent Night. And then I thought, well, what do I get that's comparable? And then I saw she had the Noah's Ark. 2x2 quiet book. And from the picture, hopefully you can see, you see it makes this fold out book, and then all Noah and his wife and all the little animals, they tuck in the pocket when you're done playing. Now this one is a little bit smaller, 36 by 48. Teach, act, play, act, Bible story. It's something you might keep your eye out. This one's called the Silent Night Nativity Felt Panel. Felt doll and bag set. And you can embellish the dolls with embroidery, or you can just cut, sew, and play. And it's got a lot to it. So I was pretty excited about that, because to find these for about $11 a piece instead of $30 to $40 a piece, I was willing to go in on it. I do know that Pat Quarter Shop had been selling them, I think, for like $23. They're Riley Blake, that's why. But the detail is good. So at some point, and see, I unfolded this one to look at it because I didn't realize that the little critters were, most of them were so nice and big. And then I can't get it folded back in the plastic. That's why I didn't take Noah out. Noah, you stay there for a while. I'm just gonna have to put this in a Ziploc. It's, I think they still have these on sale. I don't know that they have the BOGO, but it had the little activity book, and it's for younger kids too. It's safe. I mean, felt you're not gonna, but yeah. So if you can find a deal, and like I said, I wasn't planning on anything, but I looked and I thought, oh, but I had to find one that was comparable price to this to get the deal, and that's when they suggested underneath, without realizing that they had the Noah for the same price on sale. And the animals on it are quite big as well from looking at the pictures, and you get quite a few. I mean, 48 inches bigger. So I did that. I think that might be good for him. Thank you, Jan. I think I want a unicorn to ride through town, just to ride through town. What can I say? I wish I could find the baggie with the. I tossed it somewhere. This has been the last 2-3 weeks has been the doctor run. Um, and this week I got one today. I have to go put my 16.5-year-old dog down on Wednesday. I have my GP on Thursday, and I have a lab on Friday. But October, I only have 2 appointments. Hopefully. So it's been, and then dealing with the fallout from my sister's decision and that kind of thing, with her situation. My adopted sister, I don't know what you call her anymore, because right now she pretty much just, I'm the enemy. But anyway, and it's been good. God knew I needed the decision she needed to make. But anyway, about a month ago, I was in a local quilt shop and I saw this again. Now, this is called Emmett and Ivy Ornaments. I had looked at it before. To make 6 ornaments, you only need a quarter yard for the face. And they say a charm pack. But there'll be fabric, a lot of fabric remaining from the charm pack. And then you do, a print for their little band in the middle, and then some floss and some felt or wool, and you're filling. Well, they suggested this this charm pack, and they only had one left. They had lots of patterns, but they only had one left, and it's, I don't know if I can show you, but it has a lot of really cute designs. And so I thought, this was the end of August. I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get the last charm pack and get these. And I've looked at the instructions. They don't seem difficult to put together, but really cute. And from what I've figured, you may use 12 of these 5x5s for 6 ornaments, because the pieces aren't that big, but they're not hard. So I thought that would be a cute little thing. If not this year, next year. Hey, Giggles! Joe! How you doing? You'll have to go back because I showed Henry being reunited with Henrietta. He is so excited. And now Bubba's home. Bubba's home. And thank you very much for the extras. They just came a little while ago. And I just really appreciate it. Hi, Joyce. How you doing? It's good to see everybody pop in. And I'm not sure how Woolly Stars got set there. That's on the to-do list at some point in time, but it got stuck with Emmett and Ivory. Yeah, this is a really cool little charm pack. And what I want to do is you could take scraps since it only takes 5-inch squares, but I just thought it's cute fabric. And like I said, it has the templates in it, and what I did was I just scanned the template on the back of I scanned the template on my printer so that I could use it over and over again. I figured that would be easiest. You're very welcome, Joe. You guys got to check out Joe and Deb, the Pug Mama Quilter, Deb S. They have absolutely great channels. Lisa, the Awkward Quilter, and Quilt Fact. There are so many good content creators that are much more put together than me that you would gain a lot from, even just the community. Wonderful, wonderful communities. Thank you, Joyce. Now, someone asked me about making a Japanese knot bag. I had a pattern, and so I thought, well, I've been thinking about it. And I finally, after watching about 20 YouTube videos, it actually looks much more simple than it appears to be. I found a lady who explains how to make your own pattern, and it's simple. It takes a little while, but then you can make a small, medium, and large. So this is the small. It's all cut out, and she gave you the options to do the box corners or to do it round because it was small. And what you do is when you get it sewn together, excuse me, for some reason I lost when you get it sewn together, this handle goes through this handle and then you carry it. And so this will be, and it's reversible, but this is my prototype. So I just grabbed some dragonfly that I had and this blue, so if it looks like I'm not using up the knitting fabric because the person wants a knitting one. So if they wanted to, if I wanted to, once I get it made, I could turn it to the blue, or I could leave it on this dragonfly. And this, like I said, this is a small, and basically this is 10 inches of fabric. and then you have the handles, and one is longer than the other. So that is been sitting here for a little while. And like I said, um, this, and I have to go and look and see who did it, who done it. But there was one lady, and the way she actually gave you pictures of the dimensions, and she made so much sense. So see, here's the small with the rounded. Here's the small with the box corners, and this one is this one is the medium. I did not do a pattern for the large. Now, the medium and the large, she immediately have you box the corners. And I thought I would start with the small. I like box corners. I found once you get the knack, they're not hard to do. And then your bag sits. It has a bottom to sit. Rounded looks nice. See, when I did my jar gripper, I put rounded corners on it. Most people do just the square. When I do my bowl koozies, I do rounded corners. It's just a preference. I just think it does an added touch to add the rounded corners. But from her pictures that had measurements, I was able to make the template. And if you're wondering what this paper is, this is butcher paper that I got off of Amazon, non-waxed. And the thing is it's just thick enough, but not too thick, to make nice templates. It's not horrendously expensive. Plus, if I want a barbecue, I can take it and use it on the grill. If I want to use it in the kitchen, I can use it in the kitchen. And I think it was like 4.5 years ago, I bought 250 feet, and I still have plenty. I still have plenty. And I have made a lot of templates. Some of my own design, some other design, but that's just the way what I use and the way I do it. If you want to see, and this one will need to come apart. I think Mona did what I've heard did a very nice bowl koozie tutorial. And I did watch part of it, but not all of it. But you see how I do rounded corners on my bowl koozies. A lot of people don't. That's great. You can leave them pointed. This one's all ready to put together. It's a little wild, but the person it's for is pretty wild. But I like adding, and this one needs to be taken apart because it had some thread issues. But I like how it opens up kind of like a flower. And it really does give you a comfortable place to grip, taking it in and out. Jan, I agree with you. I mean, that's what I turned to because I figured if I needed it in the kitchen to wrap meat in or to use it or just to use it for patterns. And this particular company, and I could go over and give you the name of it. Once you get the box with the cutter, you can get a refill roll for a lot less. So you could just buy the refill roll. I bought the box with the cutter just to keep it from being dusty. It's called a Japanese knot bag, NOT bag. And let's get back to the Japanese knot bag. So basically, you make your template and you cut it out. And from my understanding, and I'm hoping to get this one done soon, I start with stitching these together. Now I'm keeping these together so that for my sanity's sake. You stitch the top of the handles together, and then you flip them right side, and then you sew the middle here and top stitch it, and then you put them other sides together and you start doing the bottom. They are very nice. I know a lot of people use them for crochet and knitting because they hold your balls. Let me put that differently. They hold your skeins of yarn. So you can put your yarn in here. You can put it over your arm because once this is sewn together, it will have a loop and goes through this loop. And so you can hang it from your arm and it doesn't get tangled, and you can easily grab it and carry it and go. I can look up and put in the comments when I'm done the particular. There are a ton of tutorials on them. They're all fairly similar, but there was one lady, just the way she explained it made sense. She actually laid out pictures that showed the measurements for making the template instead of just throwing out numbers, had 3 sizes. And on the larger one, she said she just added fabric. So she added fabric to the handles here. And I'm sure you could do this with the medium one, because it's good size, but she just made this handle longer, and so you can put it over your shoulder. I thought, well, that's a really good tip. Um, so I will show that once I get it sewn together. Like I said, I have a friend who wants one for knitting, because they like to, like, when they go out, they like to work on their knitting socks or whatever, and they just wanted something small. So anyway, I made some bowl koozies for my postal lady, and that was kind of funny because my postal lady, my regular's been running this route for quite a while, and she, wonderful, wonderful woman. And I went out to give her a key fob as a thank you, and she said, "You know the bowl koozie you gave me?" And I had to think, and then I thought, "Oh, I think I gave her one for Christmas." She says, "My 3 boys, um, tussle over it to see who gets to use it for their ramen in the afternoon. Could you make me 3 more?" So I made her a set of 3, and it had ramen noodle fabric, and the inside was gold, and since they were all the same, I put a kangaroo on one, a hedgehog on the other, and then one other little embroidery design so they could have them. My friend who does my X-ray tech for my injections that I've seen the last 2 Fridays, she said that her friend likes bees. So I asked her if she would like this. So this will be hers. I told her I'll drop it off. I've got another pressing project, but I'll drop it off. And she likes the rainbow, so I pulled this one out, so that she would have one. You know, sometimes if we have a skill we need and somebody's done something to help us, um, just a little simple project as a thank you can brighten their day. You don't have to, but like I've known Trish, I've been seeing, wow, Trish has been my radiographer for my fluoroscopy since early 2019, with my doc. And like I said, because of insurance, I had to see her this past Friday, and I had to see her the next Friday so my doc could give me injections. And like I said, you can do anything with a bowl koozie. This one's a little wild for me, but the lady it's for loved it. At first, she was like, "I don't need nothing," and then she saw it and says, "Well, I need a set." Then she cracked me up because when I was leaving, I said, "Well, by a set, do you mean 2 or do you mean 4?" And she goes, "Well, a set. You know, a set, that's 2." And I'm thinking, I just said, okay, because, to me, a set can be a pair. A pair is two. A set can be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, depending on how many placings, you can have silverware, a set of 4, set of 8, place settings. But anyway, it was kind of funny to me. I'm sure Donnell likes this. This is actually a Dan Morris print. And then I just found some honeycomb. And these are all reversible. So if you wanted to, you could reverse them. So I just thought before I got caught up in the day and got another distraction, which there are plenty of, and there are many things going on. This is the ramen fabric that I used. She mentioned that they mainly used it for ramen. I had some other designs. These are all bowl koozies that could be sewn together. So I had like this idea. And see, I just centered the giraffe blowing bubblegum because, and then did the blue. So these are all ready to put together. I did this one centered, happened to be another giraffe with the black. They just need their pleats and then to be put together. But as I was pulling some of these out, gummy bears, as I was pulling some of these out, I thought, wait a minute, I've got some ramen fat quarters that to go with the gummy bears because it looks kind of like cotton candy. I thought, wait a minute, I've got some ramen, a ramen fat quarter. This one is just really adorable woodland creatures. I believe this is a brother sister, actually. I might be wrong. And then I had this flowery for the woodland creatures. And but I realized that I could only make 1 or 2 bowl koozies out of the fat quarter. You can make 2 if you cut it right. But I knew that I got it at Wally World. So I went and got a couple more. Just so that I would have it in case. And it's been sitting there so it can go over here on top of the flowery gnome. You can go over here with the solids. That's the other thing I've been doing is kind of organizing this shelf a little bit. I mean, look at these. Is that look? Is that not fun? Now you've seen I have regular like grandmother type flowery stuff, but oh, that was on clearance. That's a damn Morse print. That and this one were on clearance at the quilt shop with an extra 10% off. And they're from the same collection. And the slugs are just too cute. Now, they had this in gold with a gold background. More yellow than gold, but I like the red. Do I have a project for it yet? No, but I will find one. That was early September. And then at the mill outlet, they had this in one of the bins. And that was just too much fun, especially since it has a dachshund balloon animal. Thank you, Joyce. So, here, there, and everywhere. So, now my favorite at the beginning of September that I found of the Dan Morris at the bins over at the mill outlet, and I can't tell you why, was this cactus fabric. I just think it's just great. It's just they did a really good job with that. Little bit different. And I'm glad that I got some because it's gone. because the mill outlet doesn't charge bukus. But when I went in there just to drop off some of those jar grippers, because a lady had asked me to make her 4 more because she used the one she got a couple years ago a lot. So I stopped in the mill outlet to drop them off, and they're there. So the only other thing that I had is these are most but not all of the key fobs. And I say most because let's see, 10 went there, 15 went there, so that was 25. And I've probably given away 15, but my bag's still fairly full. And I've got a couple short ones. I need to make some more, but I ran out of. I gotta get more hardware. I have silver, and I watch all of the. So like I have some of that. Let's see if I have any. Okay, like this. See, this is a bronze. This is a gold, and the gold goes really good with the Nomi people. I did have rainbow. So the ones I get, and then there's this gunmetal, which is not. I usually get it off of Amazon because I get a big pack, and it has 5 colors in it. And then of course you have just the regular silver. And you can do them all silver, but I just think if you can, and you can usually find, now they were out of stock of this bundle, but I found another bundle. You can get if you're going to make a big patch, I just think it makes a difference to add the touch of being able to pick out, and it's fun to be able to pick out hardware that is kind of matching. And that's not, like I said, that is not all of them, because over here, these are pretty much ready. I think there's 30 in there, and there's probably 20 in here that are waiting for fobbery. I think there's like 12 or 13 that short ones, and then there's 12 or so long ones. And I just put those down there because when I do get more hardware, aside from the silver, then we're good to go. All right, well, I'm gonna have to get going here in a few minutes. Now, I'm gonna go. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but these jar grippers, they're easy to make. They make great gifts. This is a 5-inch square, and then you can do. See now what I've done? I have scraps that are cut. So when I want to make one, now I have to get some background colors because I'm out. So this is a 6.5-inch square. So this will make one for a larger jar. So you can do a 6.5 to 7-inch square. You can use charm packs. And you can use a lot of different designs. Like I said, I've got some of this that's actually kitchen tarragon. I got lemons in here. This was one of them that I made for my friend. This is one of the designs I really like. And takes 2 pieces of fabric and a little bit of floor gripper. I have one of these that's all ready to go, I had to cut the background fabric because I had to find the rock green. And so see all my little, I have these cut. So sometimes when I'm not able to get into a sewing project or know I'm going to be interrupted, I prep things like jar grippers, or I've prepped bowl koozies. I've cut out 10-inch squares of my batting and 10-inch squares of leftover and put them in a stack so I can go over there, grab them, and skip the time it takes to have to coordinate and cut to make bowl koozies. And like I said, this one just needs top stitching. Now, I'll tell you two things about these, and if I'm working on getting tutorials, so if anybody ever wants a tutorial on this, but I will tell you something about this. You can do it just with this front fabric and the grippy. I think adding some kind of accent fabric just ups the game. It's a little square. The other thing I think is a lot of people will use this nice fabric and put it inside here. Why? Because this is the side you're not going to see as much. So I just find some complementary blender or something like that that goes well. Now, this is the grippy I use. You see how it has little knobs here and it's a little bit wider? This works like the bomb. I have seen people use the brownish stuff that has little tiny rectangles all mashed together. I tried that and I compared them, and it does not have the grippy that this has. Now, the problem is I used to get this with a good coupon on the cheap at Joann's. But the good news is I was at the Dollar Tree and I noticed that they had pre-packaged packages of these there, where you could get a good sized square of this. Now you need to find what works for you. I'm not going to diss or tell anybody. I'm just going to say I tested several grippy things. Several. When I started making these 4 years or whatever ago. And I just found that this grabs your jar and opens it easier. I did the test with my sister and other people. Hey, try this jar gripper versus this jar gripper. And I found if you can get something similar to this that has the little knobbies here and a little bit of air in between, it tends to work better. Now, as I said, I was pretty excited to see a pretty good sized pre-package of this exact stuff for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. May have to do some hunting because it was on an end cap. And the other thing is if you watch a tutorial, this is just something that I do as a twist. I will do a little serpentine stitch here. Just boop, boop. It gives it body. It's not as floppy, holds it together when you wash it, but it grips, it makes the grip better. Takes an extra 3 minutes. S-stitch here, S-stitch there, boom, you're done. Now, if you noticed, I'm also a rebel because I do not do an X for my bowl koozies, no X. I do it this way so that I can fold it together, put my seams together, and put my pleats right there. And instead of going down and doing 3 measurements for each pleat, I took a spent gift card, measured the pleat, cut it, put some tape on it, and then boom. 1, 2, then I fold it in half again, 3, 4, and there it is. Now this one, I have another one. This is the one I use mostly. See, I like the dog. Oh, well, I'll have to look for that extra thick. Oh, it sucks for jar grippers, but works great for when sewing the bottom of seat covers for your car. That's funny. See, that's the thing is people just say go out and get this rug stuff and make a jar gripper. And I'm not knocking anybody, but I get curious. So I bought several different kinds of gripper stuff. And I've just found if you can find a design similar to this, it, it it's not hard to sew and it works better. Now, did I stock up? I did. But I also did grab a couple packs from the dollar place and I had them for doing a video and I don't know where I stuck it because I was going to show you. But thank you, Michelle, for that. Now see this one, and I haven't taped it up. This is for a plate koozie. So this is my pleat for a plate koozie. Now you make a plate koozie almost the same way you make your jar koozie. And you see the difference in the pleat? The pleat is longer and not as deep. So basically for a plate koozie, and it took me a long time to get this information, make a plate koozie exactly like you make a bowl koozie. You just make this pleat a little bit longer and a little less depth. And if you want to know what size to make it, turn your plate over and measure the bottom of your plate. And if you have a 10-inch plate, you use an 11-inch piece of fabric. If you have a 9-inch plate, you use a 10-inch piece of fabric. That's the formula. Same process as a bowl koozie. It's just changing the pleat. So this is the difference. This is a jar, a bowl koozie. This is a plate koozie. And to get the right size for your plate, you measure your plate and go up by an inch. Yes, Joyce, that's what it is. It's shelf liner. Some places call it shelf liner. Some places call it rug grippy stuff. You can find it in a lot of places. I picked up some at Walmart. I picked up some at Dollar General, Joann's, different places, and then I got some of this, and I became sold because what I did was I made some simple ones and then I tested them. And like I said, I was surprised, but I recently, 3 weeks ago, I saw this when I was in the Dollar Tree for something else in art prepackaged on a end cap thing. And it was the exact same as this, and it was a good size piece. And I thought, wow, that's great because I hadn't seen it any other place in this design. You know, it's just like I said, when I wanted to do the Japanese knot bag, I did have a pattern. I did have instructions. I didn't pull it out. I went and watched probably 25 videos on knot bags from different designers so I could see what they were doing and how they were doing it, the things they were doing similar, maybe some tips that they found. And then I finally found someone that clicked with me that actually showed me the best way to draw my own pattern and not have to buy a pattern. And we'll go from there and see if I come up with some little tweaks myself because I watched a ton of videos on this when I first started making them 4.5 years ago, and I did my own chests on the grippy stuff because I wanted it to work good. These little sizes are perfect for when you're opening a pill bottle or a bottle of water, when you want something in your glove compartment, something in your pocket. The larger ones, which I don't have any made, these larger ones, that would be, come out about 6 inches, they're what you'd probably use for your pasta or your mayonnaise or something like that. These will work, but these are made for your smaller lids and are very portable. You can put one in your purse or your backpack or your car and have it for those times when you can't get the lid off. I'm sorry, but with my double arthritis, I have OAs, I have psoriatic. Sometimes I can't get the lid off the water bottle. So having one of these just in my go bag, and sometimes my pharmacy is really stupid and that I will just use it right now, that they forget I don't need safety lids on my medicine. Now, folks, let me tell you a secret. If you're like me and you don't have kids running around the house or anything like that, and you don't need those stupid safety lids, tell your pharmacy and they will put on their no safety lid, and they put on their ones you can actually open all the time. I mean, and somehow they switched over computer systems and they started putting the safety lids on. And I'll tell you, about 3 weeks ago, I finally got the lid off and the medicine went one way and the lid went the other way. It took me 10 or 15 minutes to get that stupid thing to push and turn. Talked to my pharmacist and got it straightened out. Sometimes these can come in handy, but I didn't have any in here because they all got swipe-decated. Debbie, hey, how you doing? Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I'm about ready to get off of here. I think I'm going to show you one more thing and then I'm going to pop off of here. I should get this piece of fabric off the floor here. But I appreciate everybody that showed up. I'm trying to get my stuff together, so that I can be on more regularly. Friday the 19th and Friday the 12th, I played dartboard, and they did what was called an RF, or a radio frequency, on my low back. And then my doctor finally, after 6.5 months of saying, what is this knot that's over here just past my spine on my SI that's been killing me for 6 months? I've asked 5 doctors and asked him 3 times. And Friday, he finally looked at it and says, oh, that's a giant knot of muscle. And he goes, this is still knotted up. So we did about 6 or 7 on the 12th and 6 or 7 additional on Friday to help that go down. May have to do another round because it finally took that knot down, but no. This, believe it or not, is from the Bob. It is a Michael Miller. Look at the color. Look at the shadow. This is going to make probably apron, pot holder, kitchen scarf, dog grippers. It is beautiful. I may make a Japanese knot bag. Now, Joyce, you were asking about the Japanese knot bags. I will tell you that the large will end up using 3/4 of a yard of fabric because of the handles. And this one took, I think, a third, because it's only like a 10 by 10 at the bottom. But once you get the handles on there, and you need 2 pieces for the outside and 2 pieces for the inside, once you get that 18-inch handle, the long one, you've extended the amount of fabric you need. So the bigger you get, 17 by 17, but the handles. So by the time you get to a large one, which you probably could put a toddler in, it just seems larger than I need. I'm so excited Debbie stopped by. You have a good day. I'm excited everybody who stopped by and said hello. But you have to remember that. Because like I said, you end up, even though the medium may be 17 inches by 17 inches wide with the handle, you've got two pieces, so you're going to use the whole width of fabric for that piece, and you've got to account for that. So I'm going to start with the small and the mediums because they look most practical, and if I run into a toddler I need catching, then I'll try and do the large one. It's the same way. There's a company that makes these patterns. They're pretty cool, called a biddy, a midi, and a mondo bag. And they come by Quilt Smart. They come with interfacing, and you put your 2.5-inch squares down, and when you like it, you iron it to the interfacing, and you sew the squares together, and you end up with 4 panels that come together to make a bag. The biddy's really cool little bag. The midi is what most normal people use. The mondo bag, my gosh, I think you could put a 2-year-old in there. I may be exaggerating a little bit, but it is huge. I have the pattern because I went ahead and got one when it was on clearance for, instead of $24 for the pattern, I think I paid $5 on clearance. So I do have the pattern for the mondo, which takes something like 200 2.5-inch squares. I don't know that I'll ever do it, but I have it. And you can get replacement interfacing for this company's bags, but I keep that in mind. Is the bigger the bag you're going to do, you're going to use up to a yard of fabric because you've got to have two pieces for the and it may not be the same fabric because I had two pieces of this for the outside, and I will use something totally different for the inside. So, anyway, I liked this. It's not easy to find good, dark kitchen, farm type of fabric. I mean, that has this kind of clarity of detail, and then he even did the shadowing of the vegetables. It's nice because sometimes those lighter colors will pick up a stain easier. Okay. Well, thank you, Joe. I just bump around and God blesses me. And some days it helps keep me going because sometimes other things just aren't going well. And I have been blessed. I mean, I saw on Facebook Marketplace this lady had Bernina feet, and she wanted $5 a piece. And so I went to get 4 feet, and she had a ruler set for doing ruler work, and I was hoping she had the ruler foot to go with it. And when I got there, I realized, I mean, look, this is a ruffler. This is not a cheap foot. This is a fun thing to play with. This is called a circular embroidery attachment where you can use any of your decorative stitches and do all kinds of things. And as soon as she had a free book, as soon as she texted me the address, I thought, I wonder if this is the lady I got blessed with some fabric and my dachshund she gave me in May. And in May, I ran into a post there was a half a bin of black and white, 2 of them. And I think she wanted $10 for half a bin. So I contacted her, and she was very generous because I ended up with 2 full big bins of all kinds of colored fabric. And she gave me this dachshund that she made from an old Chanel blanket. And she actually gave me the pattern. So I did find some Chanel actual. I kept looking for a old vintage Chanel blanket like she used. Her friend gave her. She made whales and dinosaurs and all kinds of things out of Chanel and just stuffed them with polyfill. Really cute. Um, and I kept looking at the Chanel blankets I was running into. Everybody was like, "Oh, they're vintage. Ooh, let's get money." Well, I did run into a couple months ago a lady up in my area about 5 minutes away said, "I have a bag of Chanel fabric that I want to get rid of." And she said, "I think $20 would make an offer." And I said, "I got $10 cash." She says, "Meet me at Food Line." She came out with 4 bags, 4 black garbage bags of Chanel fabric. There was some felt fabric, some corduroy fabric, but I mean 4 black. And I said, "Are you at?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I've had it in my closet, belonged to my grandmother or something like that, and I'm not going to do anything with it. And you sounded like you could use it." I still have to go through that because Deb was in rehab and she was just getting out, and I broke my back, and here I am. But it was this lady. And when I got there, she was just as warm and wonderful and gracious. And these aren't all the feet I got. She used to she used to make collage quilts. Um, I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous collage quilts. I mean, and she would sell them. The kinds that are thousands of dollars. Sometimes they would take her 2 years to make. But anyway, she's moving from a house to an apartment. It's time I think she's taking a break. And so she was downsizing then. And so anyway, she kept going, "Well, I got this and I won't use this and I won't use it." "Oh, just take these because I'm not going to use them. I'll put them in the free pile and I'll put your 4 over here." And when I got home, it wasn't until I got home that I realized that 4-piece limited edition set of Bernina rulers had never been used. The only problem was she didn't have a ruler foot. Maybe that's why she never used them. She never bought a ruler foot. So because of her, because the last time I was there to pick up fabric, she gave me these 3 motion feet for my Bernina. She says, "I got duplicates. Just put those in your pocket and I'll forget that I gave them to you." So I now have almost the whole collection of Bernina free motion feet, except for the expensive ruler foot. I've been looking. I don't think people let it go as easily as other feet once they get it. And right now I don't have $125 or $130 to get one. That's the cheapest I've found it, and they keep going up. But yeah, I got a jeans foot, and I got like a narrow Teflon foot. I have the wide one. And then she goes, "Well, you use various needles." So then she got out a bag and put in 20 or 30 packs of Smith's needles in a Ziploc and says, "I won't use these. Jeans, upholstery, Teflon." And then I'm getting ready to leave and I'm saying, "Thank you very much." I said, "This is all I have." And she goes, "I know I took your offer for the rulers." And she says, "And if I would have known it was you, I would have said, 'Come on down quicker.'" And as I was walking out, she says, "Oh, wait a minute, I have this kitchen garbage bag and it's full of stabilizer and a bunch of other stuff. Why don't you just I'm just gonna put that in your car because I won't use it." I was thinking, "Okay." And I mean, not because I happened to mention that I wanted to do some freestanding lace, so, um, that got thrown in there too. I mean, the book that she was offering for free was by Amanda Murphy on free motion quilting, and you know those aren't, cheap, especially as prices have gone up. That was already in the deal. And I made her I went ahead last week and I made her a couple of the angels with pockets and a couple pocket prayer things and a couple gnomes just as a thank you. And I asked her if I could drop by, and she says, "Oh, yeah," and, I gave her a thank you, and I was getting ready to leave, and we got to talking, and she says, "Well, here, you need to try this stuff, and you need to try this stuff." So she gave me something, a good sized spray bottle of Totero Magic. Now, I have not used it, but I've heard MX Domestic and a couple other people talk about it, especially with, like, special projects. So, and there was something else that she used when she did some embroidery, that's older. But just it turned into a very nice encounter. Um, Nice lady, used to be a doctor of anesthesiology until she became disabled, and then ended up moving here at the insistence of her husband, and then things kind of went from there. Very, very gifted and talented lady. Very, very smart. Um, Loves and one of the things that I like about her is that she found quilting. I mean, she's been doing it for a long, long time, but not as just an outlet for the stress of being a doctor of anesthesiology, but also discovered the community and that most, like she said, of the community are just a bunch of really good folks. So I've got to get off of here. Yes, Joyce. And yeah, well, come on down. We can see what we can do. Um, Michelle, I know. There are a couple places, Michelle, I keep a little pocket flashlight in my just in case I get in a dark corner or I can't tell. Sometimes in Hobby Lobby, I pull out my little headlamp out of my pocket because it's real small to look at the whites or because they're so close together and the artificial light, I can't really tell, is this the shade I need? It makes it really hard. Um, yeah, Joe, sometimes that can be fun to have a cluttered place with lots of fabric because it's like a treasure hunt, and sometimes it can be frustrating because of the time it takes to find the treasures. Um, but I'm gonna hop off of here because I really do need to get my stuff together. Um, and I love y'all. I hope you've enjoyed kind of meandering stuff. And Henry, and Henrietta are so happy they're back together again. And they get to spend the afternoon here by themselves. That's kind of scary. I wonder if they're gonna make scraps or something like that because that's already a But anyway, I really love you guys and thank you for those that popped in. Thank you, Jan. Hopefully, um, when I get on next time, we'll have more time just kind of chatting and catching up on things. It has been an eventful year. I think October I'll be coming up on a year of kind of getting thrown in the deep end of getting a channel. And um I've changed a lot because of where I was at when I got the channel. Some things haven't changed and won't ever change. Um, you know, um, and I've been through a lot. And I think a lot of us have in different ways, and not just medically, but with family shifting and that kind of thing, and trying to find God in the midst of deep injustice and loss. But we'll get over there. I just thought I would have a fun night time, just kind of meandering, showing you some of the things I was working on, and say hello. I love you guys. You're very welcome, Jan. Thank everybody who popped in and commented, and I will talk to you guys. Hopefully it won't be a month. I cannot promise. Um I try. And like I said, I have some projects that I need to a couple projects I need to get done, and I really want to get that Japanese knot bag. I want to say snot bag, but knot bag done. See, sense of humor won't ever go away. It saved my life more than once. I love you guys. Right now, fortunately, what we're finally doing after a year of fighting, 6 months of fighting, the back's getting better. Knock on wood. I've asked him if we can do if we can keep working to get that whole knot of fabric, because it's still bigger than a marble. I mean, this thing was a knot like this, and it was hard as a rock. It was good size, and nobody wanted to tell me what it was, and it frustrates the piss out of me sometimes, because I would have been 6 months ahead if somebody would have just, what is this, and why does it hurt, and why is it shooting pain? And but we're here and we're working on it. There has to be a reason. There always is a reason. There always is a lesson, and it may not be for me, it may be for somebody else, and it's usually a combination of the two. But sometimes I wish the systemic injustice, we could untangle some of that systemic injustice in the system. So anyway, before I get off on that, bye, sis. Joe, thank you for joining. I hope y'all have a blessed day. I'm going to go. Wish I could stay and play.